Hello everyone, welcome to the fourth prose unit in your syllabus called The Summit Within, written by Major HPS Ahluwalia. In this video, I'll introduce the author and the text to you. After that, I'll explain the text line by line along with the discussion of the difficult words and their meanings. In the last section, we will analyze the major themes of this text. So let's jump straight into the introduction now. Major HPS Ahluwalia is an Indian mountaineer and an ex-army person. He was a member of the first successful Indian expedition to Mount Everest in 1965. He scaled the Mount Everest on 29th May 1965 along with his friends Rawat and Fu Dorji. Major Ahluwalia has received several awards like Padma Bhushan, Arjun Award, the National Award for the best work done in the field of disability. He also won the Tenzing Norgay National Adventure Award for Lifetime Achievement on August 29, 2009. HPS Ahluwalia has written several books like Higher Than Everest, Beyond the Himalayas and Everest is Within You. Now that I introduce the author to you, let me brief you about the text. This text is a reflective essay which is a collection of Major Ahluwalia's experiences when he climbed the Everest in 1965. It talks about human endeavors, his decision to climb the Everest, and nature as a majestic force. It is a reflective essay in the sense that he keeps on asking all these difficult questions as to why he decided to become a mountaineer, why he decided to climb the Mount Everest, why only Mount Everest, why not anything else, what are the summits that one has to deal with within their mind, and all of these questions, and he tries to answer these questions one by one. So that was all about the author and the text. Now let's jump straight into the text. Of all the emotions which surged through me as I stood on the summit of Everest, looking over miles of panorama below us, the dominant one, I think, was humility. So the author begins this reflective essay by saying that multiple emotions ran through his body as he finally stood on the summit of the Everest. Summit means on the top of the Everest. But out of all these emotions, the dominant one or the major one was humility. Humility means humbleness or absence of pride. The author says that as he stood at the top of Mount Everest, he could see miles of panorama. Panorama means an unbroken view of an entire surrounding area. So as he stood there looking at the panoramic view from the top, the most dominant emotion in his mind was that of humility. He was humble and meek in front of Mother Nature and its beauty. He had no pride in him. The physical in me seemed to say, "Thank God it's all over." However, instead of being jubilant, there was a tinge of sadness. Was it because I had already done the ultimate in climbing and there would be nothing higher to climb and all roads hereafter would lead down? So he says that the physical component of his being was thankful because he had finally reached to the top. But his spiritual part was slightly sad. He felt a tinge means a hint of sadness. He was not jubilant. Jubilant means very happy. He was not very happy. He doesn't know why he is feeling that way. So he tries to question himself and find out. See how he asks himself if he is feeling sad because now he has achieved the ultimate, the final, the last thing one could achieve in the field of climbing. Because Mount Everest is the highest peak in the entire world. There is nothing higher than that. So he feels that all the roads or every path that he now will take will only take him downwards. He thinks that he cannot go any higher. And that maybe is the reason why he is feeling slightly sad instead of being very happy like he expected he would be. By climbing the summit of Everest, you are overwhelmed by a deep sense of joy and thankfulness. It is a joy which lasts a lifetime. So the author says that once you climb the Everest, you are overwhelmed. Overwhelmed means overpowered or engulfed by a deep sense of joy and thankfulness. This joy, this happiness, according to him, lasts for a lifetime. This means that this joy remains forever. So although there is a tinge of sadness in this joy, but this joy, this happiness lasts for a lifetime. The experience changes you completely. The man who has been to the mountains is never the same again. So according to him, the experience of climbing Mount Everest makes you humble. It completely changes you, and once you have been there, you are never the same person again. In the text, he will further explain why he is saying this, why he is saying that you will never be the same person, why one wouldn't remain the same, and how that experiences changes you physically, spiritually, and mentally. As I look back at life after climbing Everest, I cannot help remarking about the other summit, the summit of the mind. No less formidable and no easier to climb. So here the author is referring to this other summit, this other peak that one has to climb. And that summit is a summit of the mind. According to him, this summit is no less formidable. Formidable means scary, and this is no easier to climb. What he means to say is that this summit, the summit of the mind, is also very difficult to climb, just as the Mount Everest is. So he's talking about the summit of the mind here along with that of the physical one. Even when getting down from the summit, once the physical exhaustion had gone, I began asking myself the question why I had climbed Everest. Why did the act of reaching the summit have such a hold on my imagination? It was already a thing of the past, something done yesterday. So this text, like I told you, is a reflective essay. The author is constantly trying to talk to himself and to figure out the things in his mind. He says that when he started to get down or come back from the summit, and once the physical exhaustion means the tiredness had gone from his body, he started to ask himself a question. He asks himself why he had climbed Everest in the first place. What did he get in doing it? He asks himself why this idea of climbing up a summit captured his imagination like that so that he could not think of anything else. And he now thinks that something that he thought was so important had already been done. So what next? It was already a thing of the past. So what to do now? So basically he is asking himself all these questions as to why he had decided to scale the Mount Everest, but he has no answer for it. And right now he is thinking, what next now? What next to do now? With every passing day, it would become more remote. And then what would remain? Would my memories fade slowly away? So like he said, the memory of climbing the Everest will become remote or disconnected or distant day by day. He's wondering if his memories will fade away. So basically the thing that he held very dear, the dream that he always had to climb the Mount Everest was finally fulfilled. Now he does not want to lose its memories and he doesn't know what next to do. All these thoughts led me to question myself as to why people climb mountains. It is not easy to answer that question. So all these thoughts made him ask himself why people climb mountains. And he feels like it's not easy to answer this question. In the next few paragraphs, he will attempt to answer this question as to why people climb mountains. The simplest answer would be, as others have said, because it is there. It presents great difficulties. Man takes delight in overcoming obstacles. So he says that some people would very simply say that we do it because it is there to be done. It is a difficult task. And since human beings love adventure, people delight. Delight means they are very happy in overcoming these obstacles or problems. So basically, some people do it just for the thrill or for the adventure, according to him. The obstacles in climbing a mountain are physical. A climb to a summit means endurance, persistence, and willpower. The demonstration of these physical qualities is no doubt exhilarating, as it was for me also. So he agrees with this view and he says that the obstacles or the problems that one comes across while climbing the mountain are physical in nature, meaning that the problems will be related to your body. According to him, a climb requires endurance, persistence, and willpower. Endurance means the amount of stamina or strength a person has to endure any problem. Persistence means to continue doing something without giving up, without stopping. And willpower means the strong desire to do something. So basically, the three physical qualities that a person requires, according to him, are endurance or the strength to face any problem, the firm decision to not give up, and the continuous effort. He agrees that all this makes the climb more exhilarating or thrilling. It fills people with excitement. So he understands why people would do it for the thrill, for the adventure. I have a more personal answer to the question. From my childhood, I have been attracted by mountains. I had been miserable, lost when away from mountains in the plains. So now he's trying to tell us that, of course, the climb was exhilarating for him and he wanted to do the adventure. But he has a more personal reason for deciding to climb the Mount Everest. He feels that he had forever been attracted to mountains since his childhood. Whenever he was in the plains, he was miserable, he was sad, and he was lost. So basically, it was his love for the mountains which made him climb the Everest. Mountains are nature at its best. Their beauty and majesty pose a great challenge, and like many, I believe that mountains are a means of communion with God. So he loves mountains so much that he says that mountains are the best representation of nature's beauty. And not only beautiful, they are also majestic. Majestic means royal or magnificent. So basically, they are grand in their appearance. He believes that mountains are a way of communion. Communion means a connection between human beings and God. So basically, he feels that mountains are beautiful and majestic, and whenever you are in the mountains, you become close to God. Once having granted this, the question remains, why Everest? Because it is the highest, the mightiest, and has defied many previous attempts. It takes the last ounce of one's energy. So he says that, okay, let us say that mountains are beautiful and majestic and all of that. But the question still remains, why only Mount Everest? Why not some other peak? Why did he choose to climb only Mount Everest? And he answers his own question by saying that because this is the highest, the mightiest means the most powerful, and has defied many previous attempts. Defied means to challenge or refuse to obey. So he says that this mountain has challenged the other people's previous attempts of climbing it, and that is what makes it so tempting to climb. And that is why I, Major HPS Ahluwalia, chose to climb it. It is a brutal struggle with rock and ice. Once taken up, it cannot be given up halfway, even when one's life is at stake. The passage back is as difficult as the passage onwards. Brutal means violent, savage, or cruel, and the struggle means fight. So the author tells us that climbing up Everest is a brutal, violent fight or struggle with rock and ice. Once you get into this fight, you cannot quit. You cannot give up even when you know that you're going to die. Even when your life is at stake. You have to keep fighting till the very end. He says that the passage or the way for coming back is as difficult as the way to go forward. And then when the summit is climbed, there is the exhilaration, the joy of having done something, the sense of a battle fought and won. There is a feeling of victory and happiness. And when you finally reach the summit, it's like winning a battle. You feel the sense of victory, like you have won something. You feel the happiness. There is exhilaration. Exhilaration means being cheerful or excited because you have achieved something. You have won a fight. Glimpsing a peak in the distance, I get transported to another world. I experience a change within myself which can only be called mystical. Glimpsing means looking at something. So as he looks at a peak situated slightly far away, at a distance from him, he feels that he is transported to another world. He is taken to another world. He feels a mystical, a magical change within himself which cannot be expressed in words. By its beauty, aloofness, might, ruggedness, and the difficulties encountered on the way, the peak draws me to it, as Everest did. It is a challenge that is difficult to resist. So he says that the peak has many qualities that attract him, that draw him towards itself, like its beauty, its aloofness. Aloofness means isolation, like there is no other peak like it in the world. Its might. Might means power. Its ruggedness, its irregularities, its rocky texture, and the difficulties encountered on the way. Encountered means that he came across on the way. All these things combined make this peak irresistible. It is a challenge that he absolutely had to take. Looking back, I find that I have not yet fully explained why I climbed Everest. It is like answering a question, why you breathe? Why do you help your neighbor? Why do you want to do good acts? There is no final answer possible. So he has explained how majestic, beautiful, rugged, mighty, and aloof Mount Everest is. He also explained that it is a brutal struggle with rock and ice, but he still has not revealed completely why he had actually climbed Everest. He just told us that it is the highest, the mightiest, and has defied previous attempts. That is what makes it so tempting to climb. But as he thinks and looks for an answer, he feels that there is no final answer possible. Just like there is no answer to the question such as why we help our neighbors or why we do good deeds. There is just no simple answer to this complex question. And then there is the fact that Everest is not just a physical climb. The man who has been to the mountain top becomes conscious in a special manner of his own smallness in this large universe. So the author tells us that climbing the Everest is not just a physical activity, it is also a spiritual activity. He says that the man who goes to the top becomes conscious. Conscious means becomes extremely aware of how small their existence is as compared to this large universe. So he says that one also changes spiritually along with the physical changes. The physical conquest of a mountain is only one part of the achievement. There is more to it than that. It is followed by a sense of fulfillment. Again, like he said, the physical conquest of the physical victory is just one part of the achievement. The real joy comes from the sense of fulfillment. It is a mental satisfaction. So along with the physical victory, the mental satisfaction is also very important. There is a satisfaction of a deep urge to rise above one's surroundings. It is the eternal love for adventure in man. The experience is not merely physical, it is emotional, it is spiritual. So the author reiterates the fact that the climb is not only a physical exercise, but it is also an emotional one, a spiritual experience. This experience gives you that inner satisfaction that you have risen above your surroundings. It makes you a more confident, a more humble person. It connects you with your inner self because it is a very spiritual sort of an experience. Consider a typical climb towards the summit on the last heights. You are sharing a rope with another climber. You form in. He cuts the step in the hard ice. Then he belays and you inch your way up. The climb is grim. You strain every nerve as you take every step. In these lines, the author is trying to explain all the steps of climbing the summit. In a typical climb, the climbers share a rope. The first step is to put a firm foot forward. The companion then cuts the steps in hard ice and then belays the ropes and helps you move inch by inch. According to the author, the climb is grim. Grim means depressing or sad. So the climb is very, very sad. Strain means put pressure on. So basically each nerve is under a lot of pressure as you take every step. You feel the strain in every part of your body. Famous climbers have left records of the help given by others. They have also recorded how they needed just that help. Else, they might have given up. Breathing is difficult. So he says that the climb is so hard that sometimes people require help from other people and that this help becomes so important that without it they would have given up. They would probably have died there. He also says that famous climbers have left actual records of these kind of incidents where other people helped them and they helped them be alive. And this help motivated them not to give up. You curse yourself for having let yourself in for this. You wonder why you ever undertook the ascent. There are moments when you feel like going back. It would be sheer relief to go down instead of up. So he says that once you start climbing up, you realize that it is an extremely difficult task. So you start to curse yourself. Curse means abuse yourself. You start to doubt your decision of climbing the mountain. Ascent means to go upwards. So once your body starts to feel the pressure, you wonder, you start thinking and start questioning yourself why you took up the ascent in the first place, why you took up the climb in the first place. You also reach some points when you just want to go back because it is very difficult to go up and it would be a sheer relief, a total relief to go down. But almost at once you snap out of that mood. There is something in you that does not let you give up the struggle and you go on. Your companion keeps up with you. Just another 50 feet or 100 maybe. So he says that this mood does not stay for long. You snap out of it. Snap means to come out of something immediately, because something inside of you does not let you quit. It does not let you leave your journey midway. So you just have to ignore every pressure, every pain, and you have to keep moving forward. Companion means partner. So your partner also keeps motivating you to move forward. They keep on saying, just another feet, just another 100 feet, and that's how you climb the Mount Everest. You ask yourself, is there no end? You look at your companion and he looks at you. You draw inspiration from each other. And then, without first being aware of it, you are at the summit. So while climbing up, one keeps asking themselves, when would the journey end? Both the companions look at each other and motivate each other. One also has to draw inspiration from each other and keep moving forward. And then, without even realizing, you reach at the top. So basically he says that there are multiple moments during the climb when you want to give up and you want to just go back. But one has to keep moving forward without giving up. And just like that, you reach at the top. Looking round from the summit, you tell yourself it was worthwhile. Other silvery peaks appear through the clouds. If you are lucky, the sun may be on them. The surrounding peaks look like a jeweled necklace around the neck of your summit. So once you reach the summit, once you're at the top, you tell yourself that this adventure, this pain, this pressure was worth it. You start to feel the internal satisfaction that he was just telling us about in the previous lines. All the other peaks are covered in snow and they shine under the sun and appear silver as they appear through the clouds. He says that the surrounding mountain peaks look like a jeweled necklace wrapped around the neck of the summit you have just climbed. So basically, the mountains look like silver pearls studded in a beautiful necklace around the peak that you are on, around Mount Everest. Below, you see vast valleys sloping into the distance. Under you, you can see vast valleys. Vast means boundless or endless valleys. Valley are deep hollow areas between mountains that slope into the distance far, far away. It is an ennobling, enriching experience to just look down from the summit of a mountain. You bow down and make your obeisance to whichever god you worship. So he says that when you experience this scenery around you, it is an ennobling experience. Ennobling means something that makes you noble or wise. It is an enriching experience of looking down from the summit because the beauty of nature is boundless. This humbling experience makes you bow down or bend down and thank whichever god you worship. Obeisance means showing respect. So you show respect and you thank God for bringing you till here. I left on Everest a picture of Guru Nanak. Rawat left a picture of Goddess Durga. Food Orji left a relic of the Buddha. Edmund Hillary had buried across under a cairn a heap of rocks and stones in the snow. These are not symbols of conquest but of reverence. So to pay his obeisance to his god, he left a picture of Guru Nanak on the summit. His companion Food Orji left a relic. Relic means a statue of Buddha. And Edmund Hillary buried a cross under a heap of rocks of stones in the snow. All these pictures, relics, according to the author, are not a symbol of victory or conquest. They are a symbol of reverence or profound respect for the god. The experience of having climbed to the summit changes you completely. There is another summit. It is within yourself. It is in your own mind. Each man carries within himself his own mountain peak. So the author reiterates his statement that the summit changes you completely. It makes you a different person. He also says that apart from the physical summit, the mountain top, there is another one. And this summit lies within oneself. This is the summit of your mind. Each one of us carries within us their own mountain peak within their own minds. He must climb it to reach to a fuller knowledge of himself. It is fearful and unscalable. It cannot be climbed by anyone else. You yourself have to do it. So this summit of the mind needs to be climbed by every individual themselves. Nobody else can do it for you. You have to climb this summit within your mind to know your real self, to explore one's own identity. This summit, according to the author, is not any easier. It is fearful and unscalable. Unscalable means something that cannot be climbed or scaled. But he says that one has to struggle and climb this summit. The physical act of climbing to the summit of a mountain outside is akin to the act of climbing the mountain within. The effects of both the climbs are the same. He says that climbing the mountain summit is similar to climbing this mountain that exists within our minds, because they are both equally hard and challenging. The effects of both are also the same, because both these adventures make you humble and noble and bring a sense of satisfaction in you. Whether the mountain you climb is physical or emotional and spiritual, the climb will certainly change you. It teaches you much about the world and about yourself. So he says that it doesn't matter whether you try to climb a mountain physically like the Everest or the one inside our minds. It will definitely change you as a person, because it makes you more aware about yourself and about your emotions and about the world too. I venture to think that my experience as an Everester has provided me with the inspiration to face life's ordeals resolutely. Climbing the mountain was a worthwhile experience. The conquest of the internal summit is equally worthwhile. The internal summits are, perhaps, higher than Everest. Ordeals means problems, and resolutely means with firm belief. So he says that he would like to think that his experience as a mountaineer, as an Everester, has given him an inspiration to face life's problems or challenges firmly, because it has made him a stronger person physically and mentally. He also feels that climbing the internal summit is equally worthwhile, and maybe even more so, because these internal summits are even higher than Everest. Now that we've discussed the text, let us move on to its analysis. Let's discuss the major themes that emerge from the text. The first one is nature as a dual force. The author has explored nature as a beautiful spectacle with silver peaks and panoramic views. He describes nature as beautiful and majestic, but at the same time, he also refers to mountains as brutal and unforgiving and hard to climb. So this text explores both sides of Mother Nature. The second theme is man versus nature. Since the nature is described as a boundless expanse of ice and rocks, human beings in comparison are just a very small entity. Once in the lap of nature, man realizes how small, how insignificant he is. It makes him realize his smallness in front of the vast nature. The third major theme is the value of human virtues. The text highlights the importance of human virtues like persistence, willpower, and endurance. These virtues make human beings invincible, and they help a human being do all the impossible tasks, such as climbing the Mount Everest. These virtues also enhance a person and make them more self-aware, strong, and confident from within. The last theme is the dual summits, internal and external. Major HPS Ahluwalia in this reflective essay talks about two summits. One is external, which are the mountains, and the other one is mental. It is within one's own mind. This summit is very personal, and every person has to do it themselves. Both these summits are extremely challenging and hard, and they help refine the person. They help you become a better, a more confident, and a more humble person. That's all for this video. Thanks for watching.